Hi guys, okay, I'm going to work out the answers on the review sheet. So the first one is asking you to graph two complete functions, and the equation is, I'm just going to move this over, y equals 2 sine of x plus pi over 2 minus 3. Okay, so I could see that the amp is 2, the period is 2 pi over 1, or just 2 pi. We need 1/4 of the period to see how we're going to move in between our spaces. So 1/4 times 2 pi is 2 pi over 4, or pi over 2. Okay, I need my starting point, which I'll take x plus pi over 2, set it equal to 0. X equals negative pi over 2. Oh, very nicely, they have the same denominator. Okay, so my 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to start at negative pi over 2. I'm going to add pi over 2, so that would get me to 0. And then pi over 2, and then 2 pi over 2, which, yes, it's just pi. And then this is 3 pi over 2. I do have a vertical shift that's moving this graph down, so I have to be aware of that. Maybe I should have made it down below, but okay. So my midline, -1, -2, is at -3. Okay, my points start over here, negative pi over 2, then I have a 0, then I have pi over 2, then I have 2 pi over 2, and then I have 3 pi over 2. This is just one curve, we're going to do two. It's a sine graph. It's going to start at the midline. The midline is here. So my first point starts here. And then it's a positive, so it goes up to 1, 2 at 0. That was the next point. And then back to the midline. The negative would be -4, -5, and back to the midline. So that's one complete curve. I want you to graph two, so we'll keep going. This is 4 over 2, 5 over 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 over 2, and 7 pi over 2, and just keep with the pattern. So midline, amp, midline, negative amp, back to the midline. So that's the first one. The second equation on the review sheet to graph is y equals -3 cosine of 2x minus 5 pi plus 3. Okay. My amp here is 3. Remember, the amp is always the absolute value. All right, that negative just means we're going to go to the negative amp. My period is 2 pi over 2, which is just pi, and 1/4 of the period is pi over 4. My starting point is 2x minus 5 pi equals 0, 2x equals 5 pi, x equals 5 pi over 2. Okay, so here I have an issue because my starting point has a denominator of 2, and I'm adding pi over 4, so I'll change this to the same denominator. So I'm going to start at 10 pi over 4, and I'm going to add 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 11 pi over 4, I hate writing that. 12 pi over 4, 13 pi over 4, and 14 pi over 4. I am moving this up 3, so when I draw my graph, I'm going to make it a little higher. I'm shifting it, so I'm starting it at 10 pi over 4, then 11 pi over 4, 12 pi over 4, 13 pi over 4, and 14 pi over 4. My midline's at 3. 1, 2, 3. My amp goes up 3, so 4, 5, 6, and down to 1, 0. Okay, this is the midline. It is a cosine. The first one, cosine usually starts at the amp, but because it's negative, it's going to start at the negative amp, which is at 0. Then it's going to go midline, positive amp, midline, negative amp. Remember, it comes like this. Don't make it a line. And then we will continue on. I don't know if I'm going to fit it. I'm going to try. So I'm adding 1, right? Yeah. So this would be 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm squeezing it in, guys. I'm sorry. So then we would go here, positive amp, back to the midline, negative amp. And you can just count down. I'm sorry, that's a little wonky. Okay, so now let's look at question number 3. Question number 3 says, state the range for example 2. Well, let's go back to it. The range are your y values. So my range is from question number 3. The range goes from 0 to 6. So y is greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 6. Okay, if you wanted to write it like this, it would also work. Okay, your range goes from 0 to 6. Let's see, number 4. Write a cosine function that has an amplitude of 6. So let's write that. A is 6, has a period of pi over 3, phase shift of -2. Phase shift is -2 pi, and a vertical shift of 3. Okay, so we know what our A is. This is our D. This is our C, but be careful, because if the phase shift is negative, that means it's positive in the equation. We need to find our B. To find B, B is equal to 2 pi over the period, which is pi over 3. Remember how you do this, guys. 2 pi divided by pi over 3 is the same thing as 2 pi times 3 over. Pi cancels out, we get 6. So y equals 6 with the extra cosine. Yep, 6 cosine of, my B is 6. I shifted minus 2 pi, so we have to put plus 2 pi to get that negative, and then plus 3. So that's the equation. Okay, we have a Ferris wheel problem for number 5. So number 5 states we have a Ferris wheel with a diameter of 30 meters. That's 30 meters. With a center that is 17 meters off the ground. So from here to here, it's 17. Okay, this is a little interesting. It makes one complete revolution every 60 seconds, and they want a sine function. Okay, so we have a few things going on here. First of all, we need to find our max. Our max is the highest. Now, if this is 17 and this whole thing is 30, that means this piece here is 15 and this piece here is 15. If it's from here to here is 17 and this is 15, this piece here is 2. So making the max height be 32. The min height would be just 2. Okay, see how that worked? It was 15 and 15, but from here to here was 17. So I just did the subtracting. To find my D, I'm going to do 32 plus 2 divided by 2. So 34 over 2, which is 17, is my D. All right, to find my max and min, so let's do 32 minus 17 to find my amplitude. So that is 15 is my amplitude. My period is 60 seconds, so B equals 2 pi over 60, which is pi over 30. Now remember what the question is asking us for. It's asking for a sine function. All this, if I mapped it out, okay, I get on the Ferris wheel at the bottom, and I'm going to go to the top. Okay, I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to go to the top and then come down at the end of the rod, which is 60 seconds later. This is a negative sine curve, all right? But they want me to write this. Let's put the 17 in the middle. They want it as a sine curve. So a sine curve is basically going to start here, which is 1/4. Well, the middle is 30, so this has to be 15. So if I shift this graph over here, I'll have a sine graph, and it's a positive sign. So y equals, my amplitude is 15, it's positive because it's going up, sine, my b is pi over 30, but I shift now over to 15, and I keep doing this. This should really be a t because it's of time, and this should be h of t. All right, but I moved it over to 15. That was my shift, and then I moved it up 17. So now I just made that normal cosine graph because they specifically asked for a sine graph. Okay, number 6 states that a sine graph has a max value of 18 and a minimum value of -5. And they want you to be careful to write the equation of the midline. Well, we know how to find the midline. We have to do max plus min divided by 2. That's going to be 13 divided by 2, which is 6.5. Not the answer. This would be wrong. You have to write y equals 6.5. They want an equation. It's an equation. It's a horizontal line. Okay, and it's also asking me for the amplitude. Well, if the middle is 6.5 and the highest is 18, we just do 18 minus 6.5, and we get this for the amplitude, 11.5. Okay. Number 7 wants us to answer these questions off the graph. So it wants us to state the amplitude. Okay, well, first of all, I see that my max in this is 8. My min is 2. So that means 8 plus 2 divided by 2 is 5. So my midline is 5. And if my midline is 5 and my highest is 8, my amplitude is, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to read that, is 3. Sorry. All right, the period, this goes from here to here, pi. My period, it's always one complete curve, okay, is pi. And now they want a sine function. Right now, if I look at this, this is a negative cosine. The sine would start here. The sine got shifted over to pi over 4. So I could take this information. I have my d is 5. I know my a is 3. I know period is pi, so 2 pi over pi, so that's 2 is my b. So I'm going to have, for my sine function, y equals 3 sine of 2 x, I'm shifting it over to pi over 4, and I moved it up to 5 for my mid. And then they want a cosine, so the cosine has no shift, but it's a negative cosine, so -3 cosine of just 2x, no c, plus 5. Okay. Let's look at the final question here. In one area of the Bay of Fundy, the tides caused the water level to rise to 6 meters above average sea level and to drop 6 meters below average sea level. Well, I'm going to assume D, your midline, is your sea level. So now it's going above 6 and below 6. So they just told me my amp is 6. Let me just write that down. 6 meters. One cycle is completed approximately every 12 hours. Well, that's my period. Okay, they just told me the period is 12 hours. Let's think about that. Okay, I don't know the numbers here, but I know the difference from the midline. Up here is 6 and down here is 6. And I know that I complete the curve at 12. I'm not even sure what kind of curve it is yet, so let's see. Assume that the changes in the depth of water over time can be modeled by a sine function. Well, there it goes, it's a sine function. If the water is at average sea level at midnight, okay, so at midnight it's at average sea level. So let's say that this is midnight right here. And the tide is coming in. Draw a graph to show how the depth of the water changes over the next 24 hours. Well, this is just 12 hours. So they want me to do 2 of them. I should have made this. Assume that low tide, the depth of water is 2. Oh, well, they just gave me that low tide was 2. I know from here to here, from the average here was 6. So if this is 2 and we go 6, this is 8 for my D. I can put that there. D is 6. All right, and that means the height would be the highest, which I really don't need, but it's 14. And they want me to write a sine function. All right, so I have, and does it say that it starts at midnight right here? Okay, so it starts as a sine function. It starts here. So we can say to find the B, it's going to be 2 pi over 12, which is pi over 6 is my B. Oh, this wasn't hard. So h of t, hey, I remembered it this time, is equal to, I'm just doing a sine curve. Like that, and I should have went lower, sorry about that. But my amp is 6, sine of, my B is pi over 6 of t, yeah, almost screwed up again, plus my D is not 6, sorry about that guys, my D is 8, my amp was 6. So there's my sine curve. Alright. If you guys have any questions, you can come see me in the tutoring center. I hope this helped a little bit.